reporters' notepads. The whole video is about how sex is bestial, it's homoerotic, it's heterosexual, it's S&M, it's about pain as pleasure. The whole song is about pain being pleasure. This is normalcy. This is now made normal. Your children will grow up watching this. Your children will grow up thinking this is the normal way of behavior. This is the way we should be. There's no principle. There's no morality. There's no love. It's 1984 meets Brave New World. And if you can't handle it, take drugs. Don't pray. If you can't handle it, you're going to face the Hunger Games. You're going to have to fight to survive and kill each other. But no one prays in that film. No one actually talks of God. No one talks about the moral consequence of murder. Because they're kids. They don't know any better. But we're adults. We're supposed to be smarter. We're supposed to be more mature. We're supposed to be elevating our people. Why do we treat them as children? They're too ignorant to know better? Well, that's why we have principle. That's why we have to stand upon the principles of our faith, of our religion, and beyond the principle of the religion. You know, it's not the letter of the law, as Christ always talked about the spirit of the law. It's not about persecuting someone because they work on the Sabbath. It's not about persecuting them because they don't wear hijab. But you can educate them. You can tell them, you can lead them and give them an opportunity to understand why their path may be wrong. You don't have to persecute them. But we're in an age now where human rights doesn't mean the right to build a city, the right to dream of a future, to industrialize, to have a higher order of energy than oil, right? To dream of traveling to Mars, to dream of space. That's not our human right. Our human right is to prostitute ourselves. Our human right is to steal from our neighbor. Our human right is greed. That's what they call freedom. You see now why it's satanic? The satanic impulse isn't, your human right is not the freedom to create, to build. It's the freedom to destroy. It's the freedom to take. So they've created a satanic empire, and it's now at its last glimpse. We're going to see in the coming years a world that only God can dream of. Maybe the Hadith is predicting it. Maybe there will be madness in cities. Maybe there'll be earthquakes and destruction. And maybe half the world's population will die. Many people think this. Personally, I have more faith. I have more faith in God. I have more faith in Mahdi, the power of light to transform, the power of consciousness to heal, the power that at any moment as human beings, we can simply say, no, we don't accept your standard. We don't accept your norms. We will not go along. We will resist. I made a video to impeach Obama on principle. Whether or not he's impeached, it's not my power. All I can do is try to educate some American citizens as to the fact that he's violating the Constitution and why I think he's violating the Constitution. If every American citizen doesn't watch that video, what a shame, what a loss, what apathy. And then we wonder what comes will come. What will come is going to be a cause of humans. God is measuring every one of us. I believe that at this moment we choose our alignment. If our alignment is to create, it's towards the ennoblement of man, to the recognition of God in man. God will see that. He knows it already. The Mahdi is already choosing his sides. He's pulling his army. All we can do is stand here and offer a hand of light, of knowledge, of information, of principle. And those who will reject it, if they're lost, that is their loss. As we all know, it's not the Shia tradition to murder people. That's Wahhabi, Salafi. It's a satanic tradition. So we need to do multiple things. On one hand, I want to try to do projects like Ashura to try to educate people about what is Shiism, what is the principle of Hussein, Ali, the principle of helping your fellow man, ennobling him. On the other hand, I think we have to just teach people that God is very real and present. And it's not for the sake of my soul that I'm going to try to save people. It's for the sake of mankind, for our future. It's for the sake of their own souls. I was told in Iran by one of the top jinn masters there that he believes Mahdi showed himself for the first time in 2006 in the invasion of Lebanon, the 33-day war. Because no one expected Israel would lose that war. No one would have predicted it. The Israelis had planned it for months, if not years. How could they not even go a kilometer into that country? But then you start to hear reports. This is very interesting. And I heard this from multiple sources, some from Lebanese, some from the Iranians, of fire flying from the sky, fireballs from the heavens. When there would be two men, Hizbollah, oftentimes one or two man teams, they'd be running at tanks, and all of a sudden, fire from heaven would launch and destroy whole tanks. The Israelis would flee. There were many reports of Israelis with their arms severed, clean from swords. When it was analyzed, the wounds were indicating swords that were 1,000 years old. Are these signs of the return of the Mahdi? The jinn masters think so. I think so. Because I remember that very well when that invasion took place. And I remember how the consciousness, at least from my consciousness, shifted. And I realized this is World War III. This is 2006, we're going into World War III, this is it. But something activated. And I remember consciously praying against it, consciously trying to envision light, consciously trying to project the best. And I think the best results followed. Lebanon was kept independent. Israel backed out. It was a proclaimed draw. But Mahdi won. The light won. But I say this to say simply, in my consciousness, I believe I participated through prayer. Through my prayer, through my intention, I think that I had an effect. If every human being can understand that, the first hadith is what? What is your intention? Do you intend for the best? That's what this whole reality is based upon. It's our intention. If we intend for the betterment of man, if every human being starts to wake up and intend this, to pray for it, to activate themselves, the world will change. These Satanists have no power. The reason the Wizard of Oz is an old man is that he's the Frank Baum, the writer, is telling you the truth. These people have a great voice. They're great manipulators. They have illusions. They have tricks. They have magic tricks, just like in Pharaoh's court. But if they're so strong, why are they hiding? If they're so strong, why don't they come out and say their intention? Why do they have to manipulate? So this is the time. I believe at 2012, this is the time. This is the time of awakening. You have Occupy Wall Street. You have movements, sprouting up. The people are not happy. They know that their system is collapsing. You can do something very simple. Glass-Steagall, for example. Very simple measure. Why hasn't the government passed this by now? This would simply protect depositors' money from the investment banks that are speculating with our money. They're playing with our money without our permission. We don't know what they're doing with it. Why don't you create a firewall and simply go back to the old way, up until 2000? Why don't you do that? Why doesn't the government do it? Because they want to collapse the system. They want world war. They want martial law. They want destruction. Because they'll profit from it. They think they will. And they probably have even more nefarious means and reasons. But what we can do is spread light, which is consciousness, which is love. Prayer is one aspect. Participation. Educating ourselves. Educating our fellow man. That's the greatest sword we have. The great sword of Ali is our ability to speak, to communicate, to learn and transmit that. And then God will have his way with us. What do we have to fear, right? So long as our intentions, our prayers are pure, we have nothing to fear. So that's my message. This is an age that they want you to believe is terrorizing, it's fearful. apocalypse is coming. But the apocalypse is an amazing, amazing experience. It's the unveiling. It's the unveiling of consciousness if we choose to see. If we choose to understand that really the power structure is crumbling and the power always belonged with us, with every one of us, human beings. It's only upon our work, upon our sweat, that this whole creation exists. As God said, He made this existence for man. He did not make it for a few. He didn't make it for the jinns. He made it for man. So at any moment we choose to take it back, we take responsibility as Christ, as every prophet, as Muhammad. Every prophet has taken responsibility for mankind. And that is our obligation, to take responsibility and have faith. Insha-Allah, that's all we can say. God always will do as He wills.